Nobody can know where he is until he knows where he has been. This sentence, this quote, I believe, holds the two key questions for the whole of humanity, for all of us today. Number one is our true history, which has been so deeply manipulated and forged throughout the centuries and millennia that we can have no idea, no clear idea of who we are and where we come from. So this is the first thing that we will clarify. The second thing is patriarchy, which is our global system error, and it's so deeply embedded in our psyche through linguistic programming that we have no memory, no notion of what holistic thinking and being and living was once and should be like. This is the second thing that we will clarify throughout this series. So hello, my name is Susanna. I'm an independent researcher, academic scientific researcher. I've been doing this partisan research work for 10-15 years now. And I'm also a psychic, a claircognizant. So I have scientific discoveries, which you can also call revelations, that I would really like to share with you because they hold key information for all of us. And these keys will help or can help us to solve our collective problems, such as social injustice, inequality, economic, ecological problems, political problems, wars, all of these things. So please let me share with you my discoveries, revelations. The main thing will be our original mental program, actually human program, which connects humanity to nature and cosmos, that we have lost, abandoned actually. And this is the mug, or the seed. And the second thing is that in history, this seed program was broken at one point in history, at a very specific point and time in history, by a very specific person and group of people, actually, broken and misprogrammed. And that's why today humanity is so lost, because we are misprogrammed. So please let me share with you my Mago series, which is a series of 4 books at this point, the result of years and years of work, hard work, research work, and intuitive work. In book 1, there is a Renaissance story. It's called King, Priest, Girl, Beast. It's a true story about a king, a priest, a girl, an innocent girl who was murdered. Actually, it is Botticelli's Venus, and we will find out who the murderer was, a Medici boy, and how this story has been entirely cleaned up by invisible hands. The hands that write history, as we know, are the winner's hands, which is always bloody. And the beast in this story will be the Mona Lisa, and we will find out exactly who she was, the true story of the Mona Lisa, the true persona of the Mona Lisa. And we will find out that there is a great conspiracy behind her, and she was actually, in fact, a beast, an assassin, a killer queen. There's tons of evidence that I will be so happy to share with you. And it's an amazing, fascinating story. Truly, history, our collective history, is much more exciting than any Netflix series, you know, or any possible fiction. Book 2 of Mago will be about queen, a priestess, a boy, and a beast. And here we will go back to the original story, the beginnings of the Great Conspiracy, where and how it began. And the beast here will be Abraham. And we will find out who he really was and what he really did to humanity. It is quite shocking. So, please be prepared. History, our true history, is shocking, and we have to face these questions. Otherwise, there's no way we can solve our paradigmatic problems. Book 3 of Mago is called Hell's Bells. And it begins with the story of Troy, the true story of Troy, and we'll find out why it was a key turning point, not only in European history, but in the history of global humanity. What really happened there and what began there. Then we will look into the Etruscan history and how the Roman Empire rose on the dead bodies of whom and what culture was buried underneath the first huge beastly colonial empire, patriarchal colonial empire of the West. Then the next story here will be the story of Jesus, the true story of Jesus, which also, of course, has been badly manipulated and forged. We have to face this in truth and honesty. And there's tons of evidence to the real story and the real persona and the real mission of Jesus Christ. And the last story, actually it's a double story in Mago 2, will be King Arthur and King Attila and Arthur, and these figures will overlap as we see, and it brings out a pretty shocking result. Book 3 of Mago will be, no, this was book 3. Book 4 is called The One, and here we will look into the magical tradition of humanity, the collective magical tradition which connects all indigenous ancient cultures and civilizations, and which actually connects the whole of human deep psyche. We're all connected in this one common tradition, the magical tradition related to the Mag, the seed, our original patterning and programming, we shall see. And then the anti-magic campaign throughout the ages, which is deeply occult, black magic, for hundreds and thousands of years. And it doesn't end in 20th century with the A-bomb, with the Holocaust, with so many occult events. But actually, it's actually until today, to this very moment, the occult forces behind the scenes, the deep state, you can say, is still completely in control. So we will look into this whole huge historical tableau. I invite you on this quest for truth, for our collective truth, which is the only way we can solve our problems, our collective problems, and the only way we can move on from war to peace, from unhappiness to happiness, from deep human illness to collective health and well-being. So please join me on this journey that will take us all the way back and then all the way into our current reality. So see you. Peace.